Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is 2:05 a.m. on this beautiful Midwestern summer evening. It is 72 degrees. And I'm gonna open my LaCroix limoncello. I'm so tired, you guys. I hadn't eaten all day, and I got Taco Bell, and I was sitting there eating it with the dogs. They were asleep. I was sitting in the dark, watching YouTube videos on my phone. Well, I was watching YouTube videos, but I turned off the lights and stuff. I was like, I could just fall asleep right now. I'm so cozy. So comfy and cozy. And the dogs were being so sweet and cute tonight. But anyway, I'm so exhausted. And I went to the pool today. The pool just drains it out of me, you know? I came home and right after I got home, I started making videos. And I had a lot of energy right then, but it was as soon as I got done doing, I gotta hope I posted my Peterisms video. But as soon as I got done filming my drama video, my Peterisms video, I was ready to crash. I was so tired. And yeah, I was just exhausted. I went up to the pool. Well, first of all, I got up today and I went to Starbucks and I did a review of the Snickers Secret Mini Frappuccino at Starbucks Snickers Secret Mini Frappuccino. It was so good. And then I got my coffee. And then I went to the pool, and my neighbor across the street was at the pool. And so she was talking to another woman when I got there. It's so funny because I see people and they're like, hi, how are you now? I've become that neighbor, you know? That I know my neighbors and stuff. Please don't go out of focus tonight. Not tonight, I'm not in the mood. Is it better? Okay. So I just there wasn't any seats except for right next to where she was sitting, because they have it spaced out, you know? And there was a lawn chair, where you lay down. I knew I wasn't gonna lay out anyway. I just wanted to get in the pool. I didn't get up to the pool until late. I had wanted to get up there at 1 o'clock today because it was beautiful outside. I mean, there were literally, well, earlier when I got up, it was kind of it wasn't cloudy, but there was just sparse clouds, you know? But this afternoon when I got up there, probably starting at 1:30 on, I mean, there was not a cloud in the sky. It was clear, clear, clear skies. And right now, it's you can see every star in the sky. So I think tomorrow it's supposed to be really sunny too. And I'm planning on going to the pool tomorrow. I'm just having such a great time going to the pool and just relaxing. And it's kind of nice because our pool is not big. It's just a small little, you know, kidney-shaped pool. But people kind of stagger in the pool, and then they just kind of sit in that area. And so people there's never more than, well, I mean, I wouldn't say that there's never more than a certain amount of people. I would say there's never more than maybe 4 groups at the same time. There's usually 2 single moms. I don't know if they're single, but you know, by themselves that bring their kids or one of their children. And then there's me, and then you know, an older couple or an older, you know, older neighbor or something like that. And so everybody kind of staggers themselves. The kids kind of have their area where they play, and that's kind of away from us. And then we're kind of you know, 10 or 15 feet apart in the pool. And so my neighbor was there, and I was I kind of was looking around, and she goes, just put your stuff on the chair over there. And I said, okay. So I moved the chair over, and then I threw my stuff on it, and I got in the pool. And she and I sat there. I got there, well, maybe I got there about 2:30, 2:40. And I stayed there till no, I didn't get there that early. I got there at 3, right at 3:05, 3:10. And I stayed there till almost 5:30. And at 5:30, it was still blazing sun. I could have stayed out there probably till 7. It was so nice. But I wanted to make videos, so I was I'm gonna go home and make videos. But it just was such a beautiful day outside. We sat in the pool and we talked about everything. We talked about spirituality. We talked about where we grew up. I didn't realize so I graduated from high school in 90 and she graduated in 75. But we grew up like probably 5 minutes from each other. We both went to Carmel. And so we were talking just about, like, growing up in that area. I was telling her about being sober. She knew I was sober, but she was asking me some questions about, like, my sobriety and, like, why I got sober. And we were talking about spirituality. And she's Catholic, and so we were talking about, like, religion versus spirituality and stuff. It was just kind of a fun conversation. I mean, not, like, fun, like, you know, we were talking about, like, winning the lottery. But, I mean, it was, like, nice to have, like, an intellectual conversation with somebody, you know, and just be like, I don't know, I just love having conversations with people when they're, like, open and you're open and you can just kind of learn about each other, you know? I love that. I used to love to play this game back in the day called the Question Game, where you could basically, I mean, it was basically like, did you ever see the movie Metropolitan? I love that movie. It's like one of my favorite movies. I have not seen that movie in so long. I need to put that in my movie list. But if you've never seen the movie Metropolitan, it's really, really good. So, Metropolitan is about all of these rich kids in New York City. Oh God, my mom loved that movie. She was like the one that got me like, kind of like interested in it. But anyway, I think it came out like when I was like in early college. So it was about all these kids in New York City that came from like super wealthy families, and they all went to like debutante balls, okay? So like, these debutantes would come out, right? And, do you know, I'm sure most of you know what I mean by that, right? It's like where their family presents them. So, and they would have them during certain seasons, but a lot of them were like this, the movie takes place during like the Christmas season. And so you get like free dinner. It's like these extravagant parties, kind of like bar mitzvahs or, you know, like graduation parties or 16th birthday parties, like for the super rich, right? So one night they like meet this guy. I don't know how they meet him. Somebody is texting me. One night they meet this guy and he's like poor. He doesn't have like a lot of money. And so this other guy invites him, my friend and I, she and I used to watch this movie all the time. He invites him to be like part of their group. And I don't really know why like he's part of the group, except for that he's friends with this other guy. Like he just meets this guy, then he becomes like friends with this group. So he starts going to all these debutante balls with them and being like part of their group. Anyway, hold on just 1 second. Let me see who this is. Never a dull moment in recovery. What is that over there? It's cinnamon on it. Oh, spices. I was going to put that in my phone. That movie. Movies to watch. Movies to watch. Can't buy me love. Metropolitan. Okay. The one guy that's in it, he's been in some other stuff too. I can't remember what else he was in. But anyway, so this guy becomes friends with them and then he starts going to all of these parties. And he kind of has this like love affair with this one girl and she's very wealthy and she kind of like falls in love with him. And she's very innocent and, do you ever like watch one of those movies that's like, it's not really like a dark movie, but then it kind of goes real dark? Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't remember what happens, but like he really offends her somehow. And then she like never wants to talk to him again kind of thing. And it ends really like tragically. Not tragically, but it ends like him and this guy are like walking off and like the girls that they were friends with like for this whole season, like they don't want anything to do with them ever again. I read the book. I actually watched the movie, and the movie was horrible. And the author, I heard, walked out of the movie. He thought it was so bad. What was that movie called? It was like 4-course meal. His last name is like, in German I think it's pronounced cock, but it's cock, but it's like Koch. The Dinner, I think is what it's called, and I think its name is Herman. That book was so it was about like two brothers, or a brother and brother-in-law, and they're like having dinner with their wives, and like their kids have like, I don't want to ruin it for you in case anybody wants to read it. It's a fantastic book. I read it a couple years ago in the summer outside. I literally could not put it down. You don't know what the kids have done. It's like their children have done something, and like progressively, like the tension builds over the course of the dinner, and you have no clue what it is that the kids have done. And like the movie kind of downplays like the intellectual depth of what really happened, but the book does not. Like the book is just, it's so powerful, but the movie kind of like, it makes it more about like the action of what happened, and instead of like the intellectual meaning underneath it, if that makes sense. But I don't want to ruin it for people that haven't read the book. So Herman, it's Koch. Koch, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Anyway, family friendly. But anyway, but you know what I mean? Like when you're reading, like you're watching a movie and it's like, the movie has like a superficial kind of like storyline, but there's like so much more that's going on underneath there. Like usually kind of like in like indie movies are a lot like that, I feel. Like, you know, like Judy Berlin, did you ever see that movie? That was such a great movie. And I don't even remember what it was about now, but it was all in black and white, I can remember, and it had to do, anyway, there's a lot of great movies like that. And what was the one movie that my mom used to love, and it was a Somerset Maugham book, and not The Moon and the Sixpence, that was like one of my favorite books of his, but with Bill Murray, The Razor's Edge. Did you ever see that movie? Oh my god, it was so good. God, it's such a great movie. It has that actress in it. She was like a character actress. I think her name's Teresa Russell, and she was in this movie Black Widow with Deborah Winger, and she played the Black Widow. That was such a great movie. And but The Razor's Edge, she plays the love interest of Bill Murray, who gets hooked on opium. It's such a sad movie. It's about World War I. And my mom she just loved that movie so much. My mom loved these movies that were so sad always, you know, like Out of Africa and Passage to India, and yeah, but I love movies like that have a like kind of deeper meaning in it. But anyway, in Metropolitan, the reason why I started talking about this to begin with was this one part, I think it's at the beginning of it, they were playing, I got all this Taco Bell and I couldn't even eat it. I couldn't even finish it. But anyway, well, I didn't get all this Taco Bell. I got a 7-layer, here, I'll just be real honest about my large margin charge. I got nachos Bel Grande with no meat on it, but because they always just put like a little bit of everything else, I said, can you give me extra of everything since I'm not getting meat? And she was like, yeah, sure. So like I literally took the top of it off, and it was like packed to the brim. They were so nice. They gave me so much sour cream and like tomatoes and all that stuff in there, like beans, and it was like, oh my god, this is great. But then I got a bean burrito, and then I got a 7-layer burrito, because none of those things have meat in them. The black bean Crunchwrap Supreme is great, but they don't serve it after 11 o'clock. I don't know why. And then you want to hear what's really weird, is I went to this Taco Bell over here. I was telling her this, and she's like, yeah, it's been closed for 3 days, and we don't know why. This Taco Bell over here, nobody is there. Like, I drove through tonight because there was somebody else driving through, and it's like the whole inside is like turned off. I thought they just closed early. When I went to the other one, she said no. She goes, we don't know why. It's because we're corporate and they're franchise, and she said they've been closed for 3 days and we don't know why. I'm not freaky. It almost kind of makes you wonder, you know. But where am I at on time? So in this movie Metropolitan, they're playing this game called Candor. Well, Candor means truth, honesty, you know, and so they're allowed to ask each other whatever they want. So, like, friends of mine, like, when we would get together, you know, like, if it was just me and one other person, and we just get, like, a bottle of liquor. We used to do that a lot back in the day. Who's texting me? You know, we just get a bottle of liquor and sit there and just drink and smoke cigarettes, you know? I remember Todd that I dated, the one that passed away. When he and I started dating, I had just gotten this big couch in my apartment. Actually, it was like a Christmas present from my dad. No, I would have had it the year before then. Because, I don't want to keep on pulling in places to answer this text, but... Oh my gosh. What was I gonna say? Oh, Todd. So, when I started dating him, I mean, we only dated for like 2 months max. And God, he was so cute, so sexy. And he was in a band with his brother. He wrote me a song called St. Peter. I still have it, the words, the lyrics downstairs in my basement. But I do, I have them down there. With this letter that he wrote me. I really think, like, you know, you have those, I've told this story on here a million times, but, like, you have those relationships that's, like, that don't feel like they've run their course. Like, I don't feel like that relationship ever ran its course. Like, I don't think we ever knew, like, what was supposed to happen with that. But, and I remember, he had me meet him at, like, I can't remember, it was, like, Denny's, I think. And we sat there and, like, he was like, I'm in love with you. And I was like, well, I'm in love with you too, but, like, we both, like, fell in love with each other, like, real quick. And I was like, but what is it? And he was like, I want to go to a college campus. Like, I want to experience, because he was transferring. And he was like, I want to experience that. Like, I want to experience being on a college campus. And, I was like, well, I want that for you if that's what you want. I never really wanted that. Like, I was always terrified of, like, being on a campus. And he wanted to go to Bloomington. He wanted to go to IU. And he was like, but I don't think I want to be in a long-distance relationship. Like, he's like, I want to be able to be there and date whoever I want. He was very free love, all that kind of stuff, you know? He was like, I want to be able to do what I want to do. And I got it, you know? Like, I got it. And I was like, I want that for you too. Like, I want you to be able, I don't want to hold you back. I've never been that person in my relationships. I've never been like, I want to hold you back, you know, like. So, that was it. He did. He went to Bloomington, you know. And then he met his boyfriend down there, who has since passed away too. And then when they graduated, they moved to San Francisco. But anyway, I can remember, like, when we first started dating, we would walk down to the gas station. So this was when I lived in these apartments. And we would walk down to this gas station to get cigarettes. And we would each get a pack of Marlboro Light 100s, these long cigarettes, you know. I know probably some people out there smoke 100s, but whatever. And we would sit on my couch, and he would just play, like, he would bring all these CDs over. He actually is, like, I'd heard Dave Matthews before, but he, like, really introduced Dave Matthews to me. And, like, some of the songs that he played for me and would say, like, these songs remind me of you, like Christmas Song and I think Proudest Monkey, isn't that a Dave Matthews song? But anyway, he, like, would play all these bands for me, you know, that I'd never heard of before. And he always smelled like, I don't know how to explain this in a way that it doesn't sound gross, but he always smelled like fresh earth. Like he had just taken a shower out in the woods or something. And he had really, really, like, curly hair, like super curly hair. And it was a little bit longer. And then he wore these little round rim glasses. So cute. Sometimes I can't believe, I mean, it's been like forever since I've seen him or talked to him, but it's like, it just still is crazy to me that he's gone, you know, like. But anyway, we would sit there and we would just, like, smoke one cigarette after another, and we would just, like, talk for hours. Oh my God, we would just talk about everything, you know. So I used to love to, like, play the question game, you know, like when I was like, and I wasn't drinking when I dated Todd. Like, that was, we started dating like 3 or 4 months after I got out of treatment. That limoncello LaCroix is so good. I have to say, I don't love the other, they all kind of taste very similar to me. I don't love it, like it wouldn't, like if it was like between like a Diet Pepsi or a LaCroix, which it was tonight, I would go for the Diet Pepsi, but I also didn't want to like be up all night long. Which usually caffeine doesn't do that to me, but lately it kind of has, and so I've been like, I need to like kind of like slow down on my caffeine intake later in the evening. Although I want to listen to this book, because I've got to at least listen to a half an hour of this book tonight before I go to bed, because this book is so fantastic that I'm listening to, called, and I have to finish it by Sunday because reading rush starts. It's called Survivor Song. It's so good. It's kind of like about what's like very similar to like it's about a pandemic and people dying and getting sick, but it's similar to rabies, not like anything that's going on now. But if you ever read the book like The Hot Zone, like it reminds me of that. I can't remember what the fictional book was that was like The Hot Zone. Or was The Hot Zone fictional? I can't remember, but I remember I read those back in the day and I loved those. There was also a book it was half written by the Spanish director Guillermo del Toro. And I can't remember what it was called, but there's like 3 books in the series. And I started the first one and I didn't never finish it, but it was really good actually. I really liked it. I don't know why I didn't finish it. And they turned it into like a TV show. It was about like vampires and this thing that came. If anybody knows what that book is, put it in the comment section below. I wish I knew what that book was. I might revisit that book. It was really good. There was like 3 in the series. But anyway, I can remember like before that when I would drink, like, you know, if it was like some guy that I was like interested in or whatever, you know, we would like get a bottle or a case of beer and just sit there and drink and play like the question game, like just ask each other like one question after another, you know, like about whatever you wanted. But it could be anything, like what's your favorite color, blue, then the next person gets to ask, and you know, but it doesn't matter. I mean, somebody could ask you like, you know, what's your favorite color, and you say blue, and the next person could say like, you know, some real deep intellectual question. But I remember this one guy, because all these dead people, I was just trying to figure out in my head, like as I was telling this, like who it was, and I can remember who he is now, and I think like this is such a bad story, but like he was like really cute. He like moved and like died like 3 months later or something, all before I got sober. But like I kind of always had a crush on him and he had a crush on me, and so like one night like, I brought him home, like, you know, in some drunk state. But, like, we stopped at the, this is such a stupid story. But and I probably don't even remember it correctly because it just was such a small little story. But anyway, so we stopped at, like, the grocery store on the way home because I wanted to get some liquor. Okay, so my old roommate and I would always have to, like, leave the bar early so that we could hit the liquor store. Well, we would hit the grocery store or liquor store. I think the grocery store closed at 2. So we always had to get there before they stopped selling alcohol at 2. So we would want to get there before then, like good alcoholics. Although she's not, but I am. So anyway, I don't really remember this whole story. I can totally remember his name and everything, but his name was Brian. He was so adorable. And I had such a crush on him for a long time. And so, but he was kind of, like, not very smart. Like, I don't even know how to say it. I mean, he's been dead forever, so I can say he's dumb as a box of rocks. But he was real sweet and real nice. And just was, like, thought I was the cat's meow, you know? So, we go to the grocery store, and I'm, like, getting this liquor, right? I think I was getting, like, a case of beer. And I was like, what kind of, he's like, oh, I'm not going to drink anything else. I'm done for the night. And I was like, what? What do you mean you're done for the night? He was like, but I would like some baby carrots. And I was like, huh? I didn't get it, you know? And he was like, I just love baby carrots. Can I get some baby carrots? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he got a bag of those baby carrots. And I remember we went back to the apartment. And I know I've told this story on here, and I'm probably telling it different the second time around. This is how I'm remembering it tonight. I remember we were sitting there on the couch. So I had this couch that I had to have from Kittles, and my dad ended up getting it for me for Christmas or for my birthday. I think it was my birthday the year before I got sober or something. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, it was this big couch, and it was real deep. You know when those real deep couches, like, came out and everybody had to have, and it was like this kind of, like, like Santa Fe kind of, like, design, you know? It was, like, very cool, you know, like, but anyway, so it was like red and greens and all this kind of stuff. My friend, her mom actually got the same couch because she liked my couch, but then they got a chair with an ottoman too. I was so upset. So anyway, but it was beautiful. It kind of looked a little bit like, there's like, anyway, it kind of looked like those Native American rugs. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like really beautiful prints. But it wasn't. I don't know how to explain it. It was like a different design. But I loved that couch. Oh my God, it was so deep and it was so comfy. Like, I like our couch now. We have a leather couch, but it's just not super comfy. So anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, we were sitting there and he was at one end and I was at the other. And I just kept on drinking, like, one beer after the other. We were sitting there talking, and I can just remember, I can just see myself, like, sitting there watching him and thinking, like, God, he's so cute, but he's so dumb. Like, I can remember thinking, that's so bad. It's so bad. And he was just sitting there, like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, eating these baby carrots, and I just didn't get it. And I remember finally, he just looked at me, and, like, out of nowhere, he just goes, so, he said something like, it wasn't like, are we gonna sleep together? It was like more direct than that. He was like, he just like stopped like mid-carrot. And he was like, because I can remember we came home to like sleep together and we didn't end up sleeping together. And I can remember he said something like, are we gonna have sex? And I go, I don't think so, or something. I said, no, I don't think so, or something. I can't remember what happened. But I remember like, he just slept on the couch and I went in the bedroom and slept and he stayed out there with his baby carrots. You know, it's when I look back at my history, you know, I really wasn't very promiscuous. Now, I'm not going to say I didn't have some one-night stands. I had my fair share of some one-night stands. But not like other people did. Not like my friends did. And, you know, it's interesting because I wasn't a prude. We're going to have some real talk for a second, so if you can't handle this or if there are kids around, please, you know, like, this is probably not appropriate. but we're gonna have some real talk about something that I think that needs to be talked about with sobriety, because we don't talk about it enough, you know? But like, okay. It wouldn't let me start it up again. But anyway, I mean, we're gonna have some adult talk, but not super adult talk. But anyway, because there's really not a lot of super adult talk to have, to be honest with you. Because well, you know, the thing is, I put myself in some really pretty dangerous situations with my drinking and using, a lot of which I've never talked about on here before. But with the exception of, let's say, like, those, like, 10 or 15 things that happened, that, and I'm not talking all, like, things that were, like, sexual. I'm just talking about dangerous situations. You know, other than that, like, my life was like, I mean, I drank like a 50-year-old. So like, I wanted to be home. I wanted to be in my bed. So I would leave and come home and go to sleep. Like, I wasn't like somebody that was having, like, I just didn't really do a lot. Number one, I always wanted to be in relationships. And number two, you know, I didn't really enjoy the one night stand kind of thing. I never did. Like that, you know, like, it wasn't something that, I can remember, like, I would have this conversation with friends of mine because they would be like, girl, you need to get you some trade. So, because that's kind of like a gay term is trade, like when you pick somebody out. And they'd be like, you need to get some trade. And I would be like, I don't really want to. Like, this is how I felt about it, was that if I liked you, then I liked you enough that, like, I wanted to go on a date with you. And then I would get to know somebody and I'd be like, no, I don't see myself dating them. And if I'm not going to date them, then I don't want to just sleep with them and then the next day be like, okay, we're friends that slept together. Like, I know a lot of people do that. But like, to me, that never made any sense. It was also like part of the reason why I could never date two guys at the same time. Because if I liked one guy, I was like, why would I be dating somebody else if I like somebody? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I would just put my energy in the person I'm dating, right? So for me, it was more enjoyable for me to go to bed at night, you know, wasted with To Kill a Mockingbird in the background, or Charlie Brown's Christmas. It was Christmas time. I put some Christmas movie on my TV and sit there and, you know, smoke one last cigarette before I went to bed, and, you know, have a beer before I went to bed, and then fall asleep, you know? Which, and to be honest with you, which is why my roommate and I work together so well. Because, you know, like, if she was going to sleep with somebody, she'd go to their house, and then, you know, like, and then she would just go stay at somebody else's house if I had somebody that I was, like, hooking up with, but that, like, hardly ever happened. So when she and I lived together, which was, like, for almost 2 years, year and a half, well, we lived together after I got sober, too. And with my first boyfriend, but we had a queen bed. We slept in it together. We wore pajamas every night. You know what I mean? We were like an old couple that just was platonic, and it worked. You know, it worked really well. And we'd go out together, and we'd come home together. And if I was going to go on a date, I'd go on a date, and I'd say, you know, like, can you, like, stay somewhere else because she had girlfriends? And she'd be like, yeah, I'll go stay at one of my girlfriend's house tonight or whatever. But, like, I look back at that, and it's like, I dated guys, but I didn't I mean, I can think of, like, some that I had, like, one-night stands with, but not many. Really didn't, you know? And I can even remember friends of mine being like, you need to sow your seeds, or sow your oats, or whatever, because, sow your oats, because if you don't now, like, then when you get in a relationship, you're gonna wish and I'm like, I've never felt that way. I've never felt that way. Like, I missed out on something. I haven't felt that way. You know, and I look back on that and I think, well, was I kind of prudish? But I don't think I was. You know, I've always been very comfortable with who I am as a sexual being, you know. But I will say this, and this was the thing I want to talk about with sobriety, is that whether I was in a relationship dating somebody or whether I was doing like a one-night stand kind of deal, like, alcohol really made me more comfortable. And I think, honestly, that's why so much of me coming out was, like, it was easier for me to come out drinking, if that makes sense. Like, I came out and I started drinking at the same time. I mean, I was drinking already, but I was, like, drinking heavier, and I was going to bars and drinking and, you know, whatever. And I could be whoever I wanted to be drinking, and, you know, and I could be whoever you wanted me to be drinking. And it definitely made it more comfortable for me. And this is kind of like a common thread that a lot of people talk about in sobriety. Like, I got sober, and I didn't know who I was, like, right away, like, intimately. Like, I was nervous about that. Like, and, you know, I started dating somebody, like, right out of treatment, which you don't do. I don't recommend that. It's bad. It doesn't work. And he was a fantastic guy. He really was. Although, like, it didn't end pretty, but we're friendly today. So anyway, I mean, it didn't end horrible, but it just is whatever. But anyway, you know, he was an interesting pick for somebody that I would start dating right as I got out of treatment, because he was so good looking. He looked like Ben Affleck. He still does. And I remember he wore those J. Crew roll neck sweaters and these, like, black Doc Martens. He just was so cute. And he, like, played soccer in college, and he just was like, and he was, I think, like, he was so concerned about me when I was in treatment. Like, my friend that I had, like, from elementary, you know, kindergarten, elementary, junior high, high school, college, graduate school, I always have to say that. But anyway, she knew him because she had met him out. He wasn't from here. He was actually from Champaign, Illinois. And so I had met him, actually, the night before I went into treatment, but I didn't remember meeting him. And she would call, so when I talked to her in treatment, she'd say, oh, so-and-so's asking about you. And I'd be like, well, who is this guy? And she'd be like, oh my God, he's so dreamy. He's so good looking. You know, he's got a great job, and he is, like, dream job. Very educated. And, so anyway, and super nice guy, and he was a super nice guy, but, you know, like, he cared about me, like, he was interested in me, and I think that was what really kind of changed after I got sober, was I started dating people that cared about me. Before I got sober, I dated people that maybe used me, or I used them, or I don't know, maybe we used each other, the relationships just weren't healthy. But I can remember being with him, and intimately, it was either like in my head, like I was using, even though I wasn't, or it was like when it got romantic, I didn't know what to do with that. Like, that was very uncomfortable for me. I wasn't that comfortable with my body, and I didn't, you know, it felt uncomfortable. And that took me a long time. And I hear a lot of people talk about that, you know, in sobriety, that, like, we just kind of don't know who we are, you know, for a while. So these fields are so high of corn, and then the stars and the sky over it is so pretty. It's so weird when I look back on my youth, you know, those years of going out from like 18 to 22. I guess it was only 4 years, you know, but, like, it seems like such a long period of time. I met such colorful, amazing people, but I look back on that and there's so many that are gone. I mean, they're dead, you know? And, it seems crazy to me. Especially because, like, so many of them, I mean, the fact that, like, two of my, well, Todd is gone and Jack is gone. And Jack was, like, my first boyfriend, but, like, we didn't date for, like, very long, like, maybe a month or something. And that was, like, more of, like, a coming out kind of, like, thing. He and I were friends for, like, years after, and then he and I had a falling out. And then kind of, like, through other people, he was, like, said he felt bad about some things. I don't know. He was an artist. He was a painter and a photographer. He was a mess. He was just lost soul. It's interesting, though, when I look at, like, kind of like this, you know, thread that goes through my life. It's like, so Jack, I don't know how, okay, so Jack ended up being at the bar that I was at the last night before I got sober. And Jack needed a ride home. And I honestly think, like, in retrospect, because I always had a crush on Jack, even long after we broke up, even though he was so mean to me. Not mean, like, he was never abusive or anything, like, just talk down to me, you know, and stuff like that. But anyway, for some reason I thought, like, he, like, that night, I look back on that and I thought we were gonna sleep together or something, right? And so, even though we hadn't in forever, but I knew, like, I think he drove my car back, because he never had a car. Jack never had a car. Never had a phone. I can remember after I dated Jack, I was like, going forward, every person that I date is going to have a car and a phone. And I look back on that and I think, those are pretty low standards, you know what I mean? Anyway, so, but, God, he was so attractive too. Oh my God. There was just something about him. He could be like being a total bitch and you'd just be like, oh my God, tell me more. But he'd always be like, Peter. He'd say my name in a really funny way. He had a great smile. He was a fantastic artist. And, he was actually, I don't know if I've told this story on here in a long time, but he was who I called Kurt Vonnegut with. This is a funny story. So, his best friend, who is now one of my diehard good Judies, we've been friends since I was 18 years old. I met her through him. And she and I became instant friends. And then my roommate that I lived with, before I got sober, she moved to Kansas and then she moved to LA. And when she moved to LA, she and this girl shared an apartment together. So anyway, but Jack, okay, so Jack worked for Arts Indiana, which is it's an art magazine here in Indianapolis. He did, like, I don't know what he did for them, but anyway, anything fancy. But, so, this happened so long ago, and I'm, like, still, like, don't tell the story, and I'm like, he's been dead for, like, I think he died, like, just a couple years after I got sober, so he's been dead, like, for 20 years, but anyway, so, my friend, she used to love to drink that Manischewitz, do you know what I mean? It's that Jewish, do you know what I mean when I say Teresa Watford? Oh my God. Oh my God, those books that my friend and we used to read, those Linda Berry cartoon books. When I saw her at the Meyer, this is my good Judy, the kindergarten through graduate school good Judy, you know, kindergarten, elementary, junior high, and high school, college, and graduate school. When I saw her at the Meyer not too long ago, I said to her, I said, hey, and she was like, oh my God, and I go, do you know who I mean when I say Teresa Watford, the girl that bounced on the fence, bounced on the fence, bounced on the fence? She got laughing so hard because there's this cartoon. So Linda Berry does these, she doesn't anymore, but they were like these cartoon books, and they were like about the down the street kids, Marlis and Maybon and their cousin Freddie and some other people. Well, anyway, so the one story that's about Maybon, I think it's called Everything Is So Magic, or It's So Magic. I think it's called It's So Magic. because it's about Monn, who's like in high school and her life is total misery. But anyway, she's talking about this girl, this weird girl at school, and it's like, it's this picture of this girl like hanging on one of those chain link fences, and she's like talking to you, like it's like you're listening to Monn speak, and she goes, do you know who I mean when I say Teresa Watford, the girl who bounced on the fence, bounced on the fence, bounced on the fence, and to this day, I mean, we got laughing so hard over that. So anyway, and the one about turtles, where she's like, man, wait till she gets a turtle, because she does this, they get this gold finger James Bond Turtle Island thing, and then the turtle goes missing, and then the thing has a crack in it, and they're like, say to the, because her aunt like breaks it and gets rid of the turtle, and she's like, wait till she gets a turtle, man. But anyway, so my friend, she loved to drink that Manischewitz, that Jewish wine. I think it's like for like religious services or something, but you can get it, I don't know, maybe it's not, but Manischewitz, you used to be able to get it for like $3 a bottle at the grocery store, and it was always in like the kosher section of food. But my friend loved that stuff. So there we are at my apartment, the three of us, drunk on this Manischewitz wine, okay? Jack and my friend and I, ripped. And Jack goes, I have Kurt Vonnegut's number, do you want to call him? And we're like, no you don't. He's like, yeah. He was like, it was in like the Rolodex at Arts Indiana, and he was like, so I took the number, do you want to call him? And we're like, I can totally remember that. I can see what she had on and everything. And we were like, call Kurt Vonnegut. And he was like, yeah, do you think we should call Kurt Vonnegut? And like, he was so, and Jack was always like, I mean, he didn't say it like that. He was like, yeah, like, should we like call Kurt Vonnegut? Jack looked like he should have been in like some F. Scott Fitzgerald. I mean, he always wore like khaki shorts and these sandals that I hated, and then he and like a long white shirt, like with the sleeves rolled up, and he was always like tan, and he had kind of like blondish brown hair. It was always messy. It just looked like a painter, you know. He was like, yeah, like, he came from like nowhere in the country, and he sounded like he like spent his summers like, you know, on Long Island or on the East Coast or something, you know, and he'd be like, yeah, like, should we call Kurt Vonnegut? Jack, if you are anywhere up there listening to this, I love you. Should we call Kurt Vonnegut? And I was like, do you really have his phone number? Because my mother was like the world's biggest Kurt Vonnegut fan in the entire world, which I have never read a Kurt Vonnegut book. Is that not so funny? Anyway, my mom loved God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater, and Slaughterhouse-Five, and Breakfast of Champions, and all those books. I've never read one. I think I tried to start reading Slaughterhouse-Five, and it was so bad. Oh, we had it for our book club, and we never got to that, but because we turned into a true crime book club by that point. But anyway, that's your fault, Mel, if you're watching. I'm totally joking. Mel's new poncho is so pretty. So anyway, I can see us when we're sitting on the floor, and we have all these candles lit. And he breaks out the phone number. He has it like on a piece of paper, right? In his wallet. And so, was it him or was it this other guy that had... Oh my God. So my friend worked at this, she was a hostess at this strip club called Club Rio, which I don't understand why she didn't dance, because like, I don't even know if Club Rio is still here, but anyway, she was like, I can make just as much money hostessing. So she would hostess at the door, like, you know, seat people and stuff like that. But it was during like the 500, like the Indy 500, and there was like this guy that came in with like his son or something. They were like big race car people. So she befriended like the son, and I can remember like she brought him over to our house one night, or to my roommate and I, like to our apartment. And I have all these pictures in the basement of this night too, of like us like just like cheering and all this stupid pictures. But either he, oh no, I think my boyfriend Jack had a wallet that had duct tape on it, because this guy, like, he had like a belt or something that he like used duct tape to fix. I don't know what just made me think of that, but anyway. Actually, I think that was when she brought her boyfriend over too, because she had this boyfriend for a long time whose name was Initials. I don't know how I just remembered his name. He was such a nice guy. I wonder what happened. Oh, I think well, last time I talked to her, she said he's married and has kids now and stuff. But anyway. So there we are, the three of us sitting on the floor. It's like in the middle of summer because he and I dated during the summer. And he was like, should we call Vonnegut? We're like, yes, let's call him. So we brought out this phone and we had it on speakerphone, right? Like it was this real old, like, you know, the push button phone that has like the cord that, I had this cord that literally, I was so proud of it, that would like, oh, I have to see who texted me, hold on. That was actually Crystal Ball Diva from Drag Showdown because I was telling her about, anyway, I'd mentioned her in my videos yesterday. Oh, I don't think that I put it underneath my vlog today. I think I forgot. I haven't read the comments yet today. But anyway, this story is taking so long. So, so we were sitting there and we put it, and my friend's like, put him on speakerphone, put him on speakerphone. So he's like, who's gonna talk? And I'm like, and so Jack looks at me and goes, you have to talk. And I go, I don't want to talk, I can't talk to Kurt Vonnegut. He's like, yes, you have to, if I call, if it's my number, so you have to call and you have to talk to him. I go, okay. So we call, Kurt Vonnegut's dead now, you know, right? So, but this was before that. So anyway, we call, and I can't remember what his wife's name is. It's like Lila or something. But he was like, hello? You guys, this is a true story. Like, I swear this happened, okay? And I was like, could I speak to Kurt, please? This is Kurt. And then, like, the other phone picks up, and it's like, hello? I got it. Who is it? Oh, no, wait a second. So, before she picks up the phone, he's like, this is Kurt. And I'm like, Kurt Vonnegut? Or something like that. He goes, he's like real shitty about it. He's like, yeah, what do you want? Like that. And I'm like, I'm in Indianapolis. Yeah? I didn't know what to say, right? And I'm like, can you tell me how to get from like, I don't even remember, like Meridian to Washington or something. I'm like, how to get from Meridian to Washington? And he's like, huh? And I'm like, can you tell me how to get from like Meridian to Washington or Capital or something? I don't even know what I said. But he goes, you're in Indianapolis and you don't know how to get from Meridian to Washington. And then she like picks up the other phone, or she's in the background or something. And she's like, I think she's just in the background. She was like, who is it? And he's like, I don't know, somebody from Indianapolis. And she goes, who from Indianapolis? And he's like, I don't know, they want to know how to get from Meridian to Washington. I think we just ended up hanging up. It was so funny. That was my talk with Kurt Vonnegut. I can't believe we do that. We did that. Every single time I talk to her, we're always like, can you believe we talked to Kurt Vonnegut? She still brings it up. She's met so many famous people, it probably shouldn't matter, but we still talk about that. Is that not so funny? So I've never read one of the man's books, but I think I told my mom that too, and she was like, that is so disrespectful. She was so mad about it. I was like, but I did. And she's like, I don't even know that I believe you. I was like, mother! And my friend even was like there, and she was like, no, we did. We called him and it happened. And she was like, well, okay, I guess. My mom's always like, what was the word that like we heard in this one? Somebody telling their recovery story, schemes. My mom, she didn't call them schemes, but she'd always be like, you kids are always up to, I mean, I was like 20 something, you know, and she'd say, you kids are always up to something crazy. Calling Kurt Vonnegut. We did though. That's why, like, with my first boyfriend, though, we dated like 4.5 years, and I consider that like my first like official relationship because like we lived together. He like knew my family, knew my parents. I don't know if my family met Jack or not. I think my mom did. And but like my first boyfriend, like mean, we had like a relationship. I mean, I thought we'd be together for a long time. And then he and I broke up. And then I was not single for too long, but I was single for a while, because I do believe in taking time off, and my sponsor was really hardcore about that. It wasn't a year. It wasn't quite a year. It was close to it. It was like 6 months. And then my ex and I dated, and we were together for 6.5 years. And then he and I broke up, and I was single for, well, I mean, I went on dates and stuff, but not many. I was single for December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, so 8 months. And then Alex and I got together in August, so almost 9 months. But before that, like, yeah, I dated quite a bit. But I would have relationships. Like, I would date somebody for like a month or a couple weeks or whatever, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I always kind of wanted to be in a relationship. I think for me, like, where are we at on time? I think for me, that kind of like, and somehow in my head, like, if I could have a boyfriend and it was romantic and it was serious, and it normalized that for me, you know, where I had never had that before. I'll tell you what's really interesting is, when my ex and I broke up, so this guy, I'm like trying to think of like how to tell this story. Anyway, when Alex and I met, we both had stalkers, okay? So this was mine, and he was actually a really nice guy, but kind of did some strange things. And I actually had to be very direct with him, and it kind of got a little scary. But anyway, but that's not how it started. It started with me seeing him at this gay bar here in Indianapolis called OP's. I was with a girlfriend of mine, my friend that lives in Oakland now. And he came up to me and he was like, oh my God. And he like said my name. And I was like, hey, how are you? And I had like no clue who he was whatsoever. All I know was he had one of those roll neck fisherman sweaters on. I don't know what it is about those roll neck sweaters, but they get me every time, right? So, and he had on like this like fisherman's beanie, and he had kind of like a beard. And I was like, I thought he was like real sexy. So he was like, we sat there and talked for like an hour in this bar in like the winter, and I don't know, like, it just got real weird after that. Like, we literally went on one date, and I didn't even, like, before the date was like even a half an hour into it, I was like, this is weird. Like, this guy, I don't know. Like, it was like, I did not remember him, like, at all. And he swore that he was part of, like, my friend group from back in the day. And he would, like, drop names and stuff. To this day, I still don't know. Like, I'm like, I don't really ever remember him. I mean, like, I drank and used back then, but, like, I remember everybody I hung out with. I don't ever remember him. And he'd be like, yes, I always wanted to date you. I'd ask you out all the time, but you always had a boyfriend. I literally do not remember this person. Like, never. And, like, even his name is something that, like, I would have remembered, you know? Don't remember him at all. It'd be so weird. We would be out at a bar, and like, he would text me. We would go to like this bar called Talbot Street, which is like 2 stories, but it's closed down now in Indianapolis. Like, Alex and I, when we first started dating, and I would be like standing there like on the edge of the dance floor, and like I would get a text, and it would be from him, and it would say, you look really hot tonight. And I'd be like, and I like look up, and I wouldn't see him anywhere, you know, and I knew he had to like be standing up there. It was so weird. Or like, I'd be walking to my car, just like in a random place, like a mall or something, and he'd be like, I really like your shirt. It was scary. And, where's my battery? Because it's about to, I'm like at 29 minutes and something, but anyway. And Alex had a very similar situation with somebody that he had gone on a date with too. So when we started dating, we had these stalker types that were just kind of off, but anyway. It was really scary, honestly. And my ex, my first boyfriend, he legit, oh, I told that story on here about the filing the restraining order and stuff. That was scary. That was real scary. So anyway, but like when I met this guy, he was like, oh, I used to always ask you out and blah, 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 blah. It stopped. But this is how he got me to go on a date with him, because he'd always be like, oh, back in the day, I'd always ask you out, and you'd always be like, oh, I should have known. I should have known. Like, there was probably a reason why I didn't go on a date with him back in the day. But he was like, yeah, back in the day, I used to ask you out all the time, but you were always taken. You were always taken. And I can remember thinking, like, that was kind of a compliment, because I said, no, I didn't. He goes, you always had a boyfriend. You always had a boyfriend. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. I asked you out all the time. So I was like, we were in the bar, or this bar, sitting there, you know, and I'm being like real, like, kind of flirtatious. And I'm like, well, I said I don't have a boyfriend now. And he goes, do you want to go on a date? I said, sure. When do you want to go? It was the weirdest date I've ever been on in my entire life, hands down. Weird. Oh, the battery just started dying. I think, like, we met, and we were supposed to go to dinner and, like, spend this whole evening together. This is exactly what happened. I remember we met at my old office, because I was like, I don't want him coming to my apartment. I don't know anything about him. So we met, like, outside, and we sat there and talked. And we, like, literally talked for, like, 15 or 20 minutes, and it was just, I just was like, I don't know. I don't feel right about this. And maybe he's just a really nice guy that's kind of off. Who knows? So anyway, we were supposed to go have dinner, and I said, you know, I'm just really not that hungry. Do you think we could just go get coffee? So we ended up just going and getting coffee. Just the whole situation was bizarre. Oh, I can smell the corn. It smells so good. I had kind of forgotten about him. That was literally like the first year, though, that Alex and I dated, because I was still in my old apartment. Well, when did Alex and I move in? Maybe it was just the first couple months. But I remember he showed up to my apartment. And I've told this story on here before. Like, just some, like, creepy stuff happened. Like, he showed up at my apartment one time and just, like, he was like, I just wanted to make sure. It was, like, weird. And I was like, I had to be, like, really kind of, like, forceful. And I was like, don't ever show up here again. I was like, I'm serious. And then I can remember that was like the beginning of it. I think that was when the last time that he showed up at my apartment. And then after that was when he would text me things when I was out. And then I would just, like, we would be somewhere randomly, some bar downtown, and I'd look, and I'd just be like, I'd, like, look over, and he'd be, like, sitting in a car or something. It just was creepy. It just was weird. Alex's stalker was at least, like, normal. He just was still had a crush on him. Oh. I remember this one guy, I think I've told this story, I feel like every story I've told on here. This one guy I was supposed to go on a date with, I remember his name and everything. I think his name was Tim. I remember his last name too. Yeah, his name was Tim. And, God, he was so good looking. And I remember he always had like 5 o'clock shadow, and he was kind of like beefier, you know, kind of like thicker. Like not like heavy, but like, and not built, but just like kind of, you know. And I can remember he'd always wear like polo shirts and like jeans. And he was like not preppy, but like clean cut. And like, we were supposed to go on a date. I can remember he was kind of, like, reluctant to go on a date. Probably thought I was, like, some crazy drunk person. But, like, my friend had hooked us up, and so we were supposed to go on a date, like, that Monday. And I remember I had seen him out that Saturday, and... Okay, I'm back. I was trying to find a place to turn into to change my battery. And then my friend called, so I had to take the call. Anyway, God, that scared me. That little truck over there. Anyway, I was talking about this guy that I was supposed to have this date with. And I remember, like, he was real clean cut too. Like, he didn't do drugs or anything like that. And he, it was like a Saturday night. It was like a Friday, maybe Friday night? Maybe, I think it was a Saturday night. Anyway, we were all out. And I remember I was so excited about this date, going on this date with him. And, I found out that he went home and went to sleep, but never woke up. It's the weirdest thing, isn't it? I remember my friend that took his life. He didn't go out very much towards the end, but like we were all out. It was like a Saturday night. I had to work the next day or do something. I don't know where I was. I can't remember, but we all went out. This is when I was with my first boyfriend. And my friend that took his life, he was really, really close with my girlfriend that I went to, you know, kindergarten, elementary, junior high, high school, college, graduate school with. He was really close with her. And I can remember, like, that night was so weird. And, he was out, like, everybody was out. It was, like, a weird night, like, it just was like some random night, and I think it was in summer maybe, I don't know, but anyway, like everybody was out, we all went out, and there was like no specific reason for all of us to be out, but it was weird that we were like all out, like this whole group that we used to all hang out together, and like this was after I got sober, so at the time I probably was, it was the summer before my ex and I broke up, so I was like 27, 28, and so I had been sober for 5 or 6 years at that point. 4 or 5 years, 5 years, I think. And I saw him out. We were really close. He and I were like really, really diehard good friends. And, but not at that point. Like, we would talk every once in a while, but like, we kind of like that whole group, this whole group was really close, and it was all kind of like centered around like 3 or 4, well, more than that, but like Indianapolis used to be like this huge drag scene, like a lot of drag queens from here like won national titles, and Indianapolis was like a big drag city. And so like all of us would like go out of town together to these like, you know, these pageants, and like we were all friends together, we all hung out. There was like probably 10 of us that all hung out together. But like we had all kind of like gone and done our different things. Like some of my friends had like, you know, I wasn't really part of that group anymore, like, because I had stopped going out, but like I still like would talk to people, so I would go out every once in a while. And but you know, I was working at that point, and like he kind of never really phased out of it. And I can remember seeing him, and he just was like, he looked bad. And he was like, yeah, I just don't go out anymore. I remember he like was carrying this like bag with him, and it had like all these prescription medications in him that he was taking. And it was kind of like a weird bag. It was like a cosmetic bag, kind of. He was carrying it with him. But we were all like, oh my God, we were like dancing, and he was like, it's so good to see you, and we were all having like a blast that night. It was like, we just all had such a great time. And I remember the next day, maybe I wasn't working, I don't know, I was somewhere, and I came home. I think I'd been somewhere, and I could still see it. My ex was sitting in this chair that we had, this stupid chair that I had gotten at Pier 1 or something. And from this other friend of mine that worked at Pier 1 that convinced me to get a Pier 1 card, and then I ended up maxing that card out. I can remember I started my Pier 1 card and it had like $400 limit on it. I got a table on it. I still have the table in my office. It was like this glass table. I ended up putting mosaics all over it. People love this table to this day. Like whenever like friends of mine see this table, they're like, did you do that table yourself? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh my God, that table is incredible. But I did. I put all the mosaic pieces on it in my old apartment just all by myself. I glued them on there. I got like halfway through gluing. I totally forgot about how I did it. I got like halfway through and I realized that like I'm nobody's mathematician, and so like I thought it would be like perfect, you know, like this. I got the idea from, did you ever see the movie One True Thing with Meryl Streep, where she had like the pieces of broken glass that she would like put on her mosaic table? That's where I got the idea from it. But anyway, and so I was like, I'm gonna do this mosaic table. And I remember my ex and I were sitting there, and like I didn't like measure it out, you know what I mean? I just assumed that all these different sizes mosaics would just like fit into some pattern. So the table still has like some mosaics are like hanging off the end of the table. It's kind of funny, but anyway. I used to love Pier 1 back in the day. I actually still have, I'm sure this is no surprise to anybody when you hear about my bottomless basement down there. I still have one of those Papasan chairs in my basement. It's just kind of like old stuff at this point. It has like all of our old, like all of Pee-Pee's costumes and stuff in it. Miss Pee-Pee. But anyway, my ex was sitting in this chair by the phone. We had like a couch. We had that couch I was talking about. And then we had like a table with like, somehow on my phone, somebody just called me. We had like a table we had gotten at Target, like had these pull-out drawers on it with like a lamp. And then we had a phone on it, and then we had a chair with an ottoman right there. I loved that apartment, and it's actually right over there. And I lived in like the same apartment complex forever, but just into 3 different apartments. But I like walked in and he had like the weirdest look on his face. I used to think that like when I walked in, like he was on the phone talking to her, but I think that he looked at me and he said, you need to call my friend. And I was like, why? And he goes, you need to call her. And I was like, what happened? And he was like, it's Duke. He was like, you need to call her about Duke. And like I just knew, like, he had such a history of trying to take his life so many different times. Before I had met him, he had actually shot himself in the stomach. And he had a scar from it. It's tragic. It's hard when I look back on my life, you know, and like so many people that were like a big part of my life are no longer here, you know. It's bizarre, it's weird. You know, I had a whole life, like, before I met Tanya. This is, like, so weird to me, like, with my high school friends and, like, people that I was friends with in that era. Because my girlfriends during that era, like, one of them I was supposed to go to the reunion with, and she lives real close to me, and we, like, talk every once in a while. And, like, she would swap stories and, you know, whatever, but, like, nobody really wants to talk about that time. And it's like, you know, like, Alex has Sarah from, like, high school on, but, you know, like, there's this whole period of my life that I don't really have anybody to talk to about it. You know, and then other than Caroline, on my mom's side, I have nobody to talk to about, like, family stuff that happened. You know, not like with my grandma. I'm not talking about just that, but just like kind of like, do you remember that one Christmas? Like that kind of stuff. And Caroline doesn't remember anything anyway. Like I say to her, I'll say something to her like, do you remember how we used to do this? And she'll say, no, I don't remember that. Like, she'll say, how do you remember that? You remember everything. I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, how do you not remember that, you know? Or she'll say, like, when she read my book, she was like, about the snow globes. She was like, Grandma didn't collect snow globes, did she? I don't remember snow globes. I was like, no, I made it up. She's like, well, I don't know what's real and what's not in your book. I'm like, well, it's a book of fiction, so. I was like, no, Grandma didn't have snow globes. She had ashtrays, lots of them. I love my grandma. But it's weird, you know, like, when there's nobody there that knows your history anymore, you know, it's hard. I'm real thankful for this vlog, you know, and being able to, like, tell stories on here, even though, like, you guys don't know my history. It's like, at least I have somebody to tell them to that cares, you know. It's like, you know, like Caroline always says, like, well, give stuff to, like, Carlitos and Sebastian, you know, like, family stuff. And I'm like, but they don't have, like, the emotional, it's not like it comes from, like, Liliana or Carlos. It comes from, like, their uncle that, like, you know, by marriage. It's like, they don't care about that stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have anybody to give that stuff to. I don't have any, like, my childhood stuff to give away to anybody, or, like, family plates that anybody would care about. I mean, I don't even know what to do with that stuff. And it's now just taking up space. Quite frankly, I don't even want it, you know? And I think it's kind of hard when you get to that point where you're like, what do I do with this stuff that I don't even want anymore? And, it's not even sad. Like, I guess maybe, like, that's the word I would use to define it, is it's sad, but, like, it's just as a weird feeling. It's just as a super weird feeling. That there's, like, you know, even with my dad, like, when I talk to my dad, like, my dad's not somebody that, like, loves to go down memory lane, and, like, he'll do it, but, like, he doesn't love it, you know? Like, with his brothers and sisters, well, his brothers passed on, but, like, his sisters, like, when they used to all get together, like, you know, for family, like, not family reunions, really, because it was just them, but, you know, they would, like, you know, they would tell funny stories from when they were growing up and stuff like that, but, like, it's hard. You know, it's hard to not have anybody to, like, I don't have siblings, I don't have grandparents left, I don't have any aunts or uncles on that side, you know, like, it's just weird. It's like that whole, like, side of my life is just, like, kind of over. I think that's sometimes why I feel older than I am too. It's like, you know, I'm 48, and it's like my mom, my aunt, I mean, the only person I have is Caroline, you know, on that side that understands anything about, like, the family history, or, you know, whatever, dynamics, whatever, but, and maybe it doesn't matter, you know, who knows, maybe it just is what it is, you know, and it's just really, like, it doesn't matter. But sometimes, like, I'll just remember something and I'll be like, God, I wish I could call my mom and be like, do you remember this, you know? It was funny because the other day it was, like, pouring down rain, and we were sitting in the living room, and Alex said, he goes, do you want to go out on the patio and wash our hair? Because my mom and I used to, like, wash our hair in the rain, you know. Like, when I was a little kid, and I kind of looked at him, and I was like, are you being serious? And he was like, I mean, if you want to, we could, you know, and he, like, tries to be so nice about the whole thing. It's like, I don't really know how to explain to somebody that it's not about, like, washing my hair on the patio. It's about, like, or washing my hair in the rain. It's about just somebody knowing my history, you know, other than myself. And then I kind of thought, like, maybe it's just not important, you know? God, there's like a box right in the middle of the road. Maybe it's just not important, you know? It just is a history. A lot of people's history is just, you know, I don't know. I don't like thinking that way, though. I think our stories are all important. And I think that's why I like to write, honestly, is telling the stories. Like, if I could just write essays and memoirs, like, I would do that, you know? I don't think a lot of people really want to read that stuff. Who knows? All right. Before this gets any more sad than it already is, I think I'm going to get off here and listen to my audiobook a little bit, since I have like 7 hours left and 2 days to listen to it. What is that? I'm listening to it at 2 times speed, 3.5 hours. So I have... Oh, Lord. I'm late on that horn. That scared me. I have an hour and 45 minutes I have to listen to tomorrow and the next day. That's going to be hell's bells on Sunday, to have to listen to an hour and 45 minutes during the day before the reading rush starts at midnight. Well, maybe I'll be like, just like loving this book. Something is like rattling back here. I don't know what it is. It's driving me crazy. I cleaned out my car today. Oh, I want to put another one of these in. What is this one? Oh, this is Old Spice. That'll smell nice in here. Because my other ones, they go so quick. These are like the biggest junk waste in the world, don't you think? They're like $4.99 or more. And they say they'll last a month, and they literally last like a week or two. It's just such a joke. It's crap. Anyway, if you guys, I don't know, see how this smells. If you guys made it to this point in the vlog, put a dancing man or lady in the comment section below. Something new. And if you guys made it this far in the vlog, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you liked this vlog, if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up in the comment section below. And please think about subscribing if you haven't already. And if you have, please make sure that you're still subscribed to my channel. And please make sure that you're still subscribed to all of my channels, or think about subscribing to them. And I want to turn this on so I can kind of smell it. Hold on a second here. Let's turn that on and see what happens. Yeah, there we go. And, will it work with air conditioning or just heat? I guess we're about to find out. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do in the comment section below. I would really appreciate it. And if you don't want to leave a comment, maybe just a blue heart for the OG Wolfpack. That's all of us out there that are just trying to get through life one day at a time, putting positivity, love, kindness, and compassion out there in the world. And I hope you guys are having, and can you believe it's the weekend already? Thank God it's Friday. I hope you guys are having, oh, that does smell good. Oh, I like that. I wish I had 2 of them so I could put one on either side, but I don't. Do I? Do I have 2 back here? No, I don't. And I hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something fun today. Do something exciting. Start a new movie. Start a new TV show. Start a new book. Participate in the reading rush starting on Sunday. Trust me, you'll have a great time doing that. It's just something fun, different to do. Read it. Just go to the Reading Rush on YouTube, and everything you need to know is there. The challenges, the explanation, everything. I meant to buy their merch, but I didn't even get to it in time for the Reading Rush to start. Now it's too late to get it in time, so I don't think I'm going to buy the merch. But anyway, I wanted to buy it and review it on my BookTube channel, and I just didn't get to that. So I kept on forgetting. Anyway, also do something that will make yourself, do something that's fun today, you know, like eat a good food, rainbow sherbet, orange sherbet, blue sherbet, if there is such a thing. I don't know, make ice cream sundaes. I think I'm going to do that tomorrow night, ice cream sundaes. Anyway, just do something that will make you happy. We need to do more things that make us happy, that make us, you know, live from our souls out. Like I always say, be too much in my other channels. Look at my hair, this bump up here. And also do something that will make yourself proud when you look back on it tomorrow or the next day or next week or next month or next year or 5 years from now or 10 years from now or 20 years from now or 50 years from now or 60 years from now or 69 years from now, family friendly, or 80 years from now or 88 years from now or 100 years from now or 110 years from now or even 120 years from now. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you tell yourself, I love you. It's important every single day. And at least one positive affirmation like, you are valuable. I'm getting so tired, you guys. My eyes are just like so tired. And every night before you go to bed, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you. And at least one positive affirmation like, you are valuable, or you are beautiful, or you are talented. Whatever you need to hear or whatever you want to believe about yourself, just say it until you believe it. And every night before you go to bed, say to yourself out loud, tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day tomorrow. I'm going to sing, I'm going to dance, I'm going to laugh, I'm going to cry if I want to or need to. I'm going to feel my emotions. I'm going to allow myself to live out loud and feel my emotions. I am going to be too much. I'm going to be too much, and I'm going to be crazy and wild and weird and just really be who I am inside. And I'm going to spend time with family and friends if I can, and if I can't, then I'm going to spend, it's so cold in here, then I'm going to spend time alone and just enjoy my own company. And I'm going to eat great food, and I'm going to, if I have to work, then I will try to work with a smile on my face and do the best job that I possibly can. And I'm also going to try to spend some time doing things I love, all my favorite passions and crafts, and you know, gardening, cooking, reading, whatever, crocheting, like my good Judy Mel. And I'm gonna have great opportunities come my way all day long, and I'm gonna have positive experiences all day long. And if my day gets off track, well, I can start my day over whenever I want. I can just go in the other room and say, I'm starting my day over. And when you get up in the morning, say to yourself, today, yes, today is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day today. I'm going to sing, I'm going to dance, I'm going to laugh, I'm going to cry if I need to. I'm going to feel all of my emotions. I'm going to, inside and out, I'm going to live out loud. I'm going to be too much. I'm going to sing loud and be loud and wear clothes that make me happy and fun. And I'm just going to be me. And I'm going to love myself, and I'm going to love being me. And I wouldn't trade it in to be anybody else. And I'm going to eat great food, and I'm going to spend time with family and friends if I can. And if I can't, then I'm going to spend time by myself and really learn to enjoy spending time by myself. Or if I already do, then I'm just going to enjoy more of that. And if I have to work, I'm going to do so with a smile on my face and try to just get through it minute by minute and be like, you know what? I can do this. And then when I'm done, or if I don't have to work, I'm going to spend time doing things I love, doing my crafts and my passions, and, you know, needlepoint or crocheting like Mel, or cooking or gardening or juicing. And my brother-in-law, Fufu, his girlfriend, is like, she's making these juices, and I see it like on her Instagram, like every day she's putting them on there. I think that's so cool that she's making these like green juices and stuff. Isn't that such a cool idea? And she's like selling them to people, I guess, in these little kind of like the, you know, like the, what do you call them? The fruit jars, you know, those little like, you know, the jelly jam jars. That's what she's putting them in. Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna do all the things that I love, and I'm gonna eat some great food, and I'm gonna maybe watch some TV and relax. I'm definitely gonna do that. That's important. And I'm gonna have great opportunities come my way all day today. I'm gonna have positive experiences all day long. And if my day gets off track, well, I can start my day over whenever I want. Just like that. Snap of a finger, I can say, I am starting my day over. I'm not going to let this stuff, you know, hold me down anymore. Or keep me down. And going forward, I'm going to be in a, you know, good mood for the rest of the day. And I'm going to try to feel my blessings and my gratitudes. And, or great. Those things I'm blessed for, and those things that I'm grateful for. And most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. Just call them up or text them and say, hey, I just want to let you know I was thinking of you. I hope you're doing well, and I care a lot about you, and thank you for being in my life. You can tell me you love them if you want. Don't be afraid to tell somebody that you love them. I think we're too afraid of those words, you know? we'll express hate and negativity towards somebody, but we sure won't express love. It's like, ooh, I wait a year to say that, you know, but we'll say we hate somebody with quickness. And we need to reverse that and be more willing to say we love somebody and extend love to somebody and hold off on saying we hate or dislike somebody, you know, or something. And because I think sometimes when we say it, we mean it. We say it flippantly and don't really mean it. But over time, I think we start really do believing it and feeling it, you know. Also, practice random acts of kindness. But like I always say, don't tell anyone. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. Like I always say, don't tell anyone. Practice random acts of kindness, but like I always say, don't tell anyone. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. It's a nice thing to do. Just try to be the best version of yourself that you can be when you get up today. And practicing random acts of kindness is part of doing that, you know? Whether that's buying coffee for somebody or giving somebody a parking space or taking somebody's newspaper at the end of their driveway and throwing it up so they don't have to walk as far, or just even calling somebody and saying, hey, how are you, you know? Or, you know, whatever it is. So many things throughout the day that we can do. Just pick one and make somebody's life a little bit easier. I know that I could do a better job of that as well, and I need to start looking for opportunities to practice random acts of kindness. Kind of like a treasure, you know? Looking for treasure. Let's look for opportunities for random acts of kindness. And I think that's it. Doesn't it feel good when somebody does a random act of kindness for you? If you want to know how much it really means to do that and put that out there in the world, when somebody does something for you that's just like a random act of kindness that you didn't expect, doesn't it feel so fantastic? Doesn't it just feel like, what did I do to deserve this? Like, this was so nice. That, just imagine if we were doing one of those just each day, you know, like whether it's just like, oh, I just wanted to bring you some flowers because I was thinking of you, or hey, I know that you love this kind of, you know, jam or jelly or, you know, whatever, that I wanted to buy you some because I was at the grocery store and I saw it. I love people like that. See, that's where I need to be more like that, you know? Anyway, that's what I need to do. I need to be more like that. I need to be more like proactive with my positivity, and if I see an opportunity, I need to just like take it at that moment, because I love when people are like that. Those are people that are truly good at their heart, or good at heart, you know. And I think sometimes when those things even kind of like burden us just for a moment, like it's like, oh, but then I'd have to drive over there and I don't want to have to see, you know what I mean? It's like, just do it. It'll make somebody so happy, you know. And I know it feels so good when somebody does those things for me. So I need to do more of that and put more of that out there in the world. So anyway, I think that's it. And I hope you guys are having an amazing weekend. And enjoy the simplicity of life. I've really learned recently to be so thankful and so grateful for the smallness of my life, you know. I'm so grateful for that. I don't need parades. I don't need, you know, all of that stuff. While I do love the quote from Augie in the book Wonder. I've never seen the movie actually, which is interesting, but I did read the book, or I listened to it on Audible, where he said, or did I read it? I listened to it on Audible, where he says that everybody deserves a standing ovation at least once in their life. While I do believe that, I think that life is really in the details, like it's been said. And the smallness of life is where, like, the true beauty of life lives, you know? It's just in the small moments with your dog, or sleeping in, and the comfort of your pillow, and all of that, you know? Getting to go to the pool, maybe eating some orange sherbet. It's all those small things that I think that just make life so wonderful. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me, and it was nice to come out today and talk. I said I was going to do a short vlog, and it ended up being, I think, like an hour and a half. So anyway, maybe tomorrow night will be short. We'll see. But I know this week I'm going to have to do shorter vlogs because of the reading rush. So anyway, all right, I'm going to get off here now. I love you guys so much, because it's going to run over time if I don't, because I'm almost at 29 minutes. So anyway, 29 minutes on this one before it stops. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! I had to tonight just come back and say, in all fogginess with no focus on the camera, I had to come back and just say, one more I love you. I love doing that. Oh my God, it's completely out of focus now. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!